Hello and welcome everyone to the Anime Everyguys podcast, your one-stop shop for everything anime. As always, this show will contain heavy spoilers regarding the newest season of anime, so if you're not caught up yet, you've been warned. With me as always, one of the former pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps, the 10th Hashira, Adam.
Thanks, Andy. Great to be here.
So, starting off the podcast a little bit different this week, we have a couple announcements. First thing I wanted to throw out there, we have been doing the damn thing for about a year now, and so we're getting close to that first year anniversary. So we just wanted a little bit of feedback from you guys. So if you wanted to send us a tweet or a Facebook post something, just telling us like what you would want for like some kind of special show for that 1 year anniversary. Like, would you want to hear our top 10 of all time lists? Would you want to hear what our favorite fight scenes are, our favorite openings, like what kind of stuff would you guys want to hear? Just do something a little bit different, a little bit something special for that 1 year anniversary. And then also, pretty exciting announcement, we are, if you made it to the end of the last podcast, on Patreon now. So you can support your favorite Anime Everyguys with a $1 a month donation, and that will get your name at the end of a podcast, and it would also help us out, get some of our hosting fees taken care of, and then we can hopefully be operating in the green and not in the red. So if you want to help us out, get a little shout out, we would be eternally grateful. So check that out. But to kick off the show this week, we are going to start with a show that's been absolutely killing it because both of us are just too excited to talk about it and didn't want to wait until later in the show. We're just going to kick right into it with Demon Slayer. What have you thought, other than the fact that you were completely right in the last episode? And when I was like, oh, no, he's dead. He's for sure dead. He whacked him. No, he did. No, he made it.
These last couple episodes have been a little slower than our fighting scenes. They haven't done much fighting. It's more discussion and trying to move the story along. So, good introduction to some characters. Good introduction to the hierarchy of their demon slayers. Good introduction to the, I guess, master of the demon slayers. So
yeah,
it's good continuation to show. I think it's a step forward into the universe building and seeing why they're all there instead of just having monster of the week type of style, which they were doing for a while, going out killing a demon, going to the next demon, killing it, going to the next demon and killing it. I mean, we like that. We were eating that up like Naruto and his Ichiraku ramen, eating that up. But what we need is just to continue on with the story, which is I think it was a good breaking point because we got to see the action of these pillars, with the water pillar coming in and finally killing the spider demon. What do you think about the last ones?
Well, I guess where we can start is I did enjoy the little bit of backstory. Like normally, I was really riding high. Like we definitely hit that climax, and now we're kind of like rolling back to the normal energy level. Because it was going into the backstory of the spider demon, like what caused him to have his whole viewpoint, why he wanted to create this family, and also his relationship with head honcho. So we got to see that relationship, how he felt about his parents, how he changed his kind of like mindset at the end of his life just by seeing the connection between Tanjiro and Nezuko, and their actual bond as compared to his fake bonds. So I feel like that was good. That was one of the better backstories. And I feel like that's something the show does very well, is make us invested right at the end of these demons' lives in what got them to that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's also driving home the difference between Tanjiro and other members, other demon slayers.
Yeah, because he sympathize with it.
Yeah, sympathy. There's sympathy and there's compassion, and he realizes that it's not black and white. There's this gray area where they were humans once, and they can still regret the things that they've done. Whereas these other, some of the Hashiras, especially that we were.
Seen in the last episode.
Now that we've seen, like, they are very cut and dry. These are the rules. Demons are bad. I've seen all the destruction they have. We have to kill all of them. So I think that's what was very, very good about the end of the spider fight. And then moving forward from that, we also got to see a little action from. We got the water Hashira, coming in and killing, but we also got the insect Hashira, who I don't remember her name, but we got to see a little bit about her and her overall demeanor and mindset. And she's the one that really like triggered the events that are coming forward here, because she accused the water Hashira of, breaking core rules, as well as Tanjiro for harboring this demon Nezuko. And we also, I thought something really cool was her sword design.
Because like she's a stinger.
Because she's a girl, so she's not swinging the full weight of like some beefy sword. She has a very lightweight one with the main body actually cut out to reduce weight, but she doesn't need it. She only needs the tip because of this poison. And it also introduced us to a new way to kill demons. Because before we thought the only way they could die is having the heads chopped off by these special blades, but now
or the
sun. Now we have a poison made from those flowers that repel demons, and now there's another way that they can kill them. And it also shows like she's in charge of the squad, like the cleanup squad, the people that come in after the battles and dispose of all the bodies and play damage control. And they were like healing everybody up, turning Zenitsu back to normal, so he's no longer spider-fied, making sure nobody kicked the bucket. So that's cool. And again, it reminds me kind of like of Bleach having the like the medical corps squad.
You're right.
I can't think of her name. The chick that was in charge of that squad. I'm getting similar vibes, like very quiet and soft-spoken, but at the same time, like probably could whoop your ass in a fight.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because she seems very strong-willed in her mindset, and you especially saw that with her taking out with one of the other demons, and she's kind of sadistic.
Yeah,
she's like, I'm going to torture you for all the people that you've killed. So I want to be accurate about it. How many people did you kill, so that I can give you the corresponding punishment? Very like matter of fact. And that gives her a lot of dimension to her character, so I thought that was really nice. But I guess that leads us a little bit to something that I wanted to do this week, since we got all these awesome new character designs and new characters in the show in the form of the 9 pillars. I just wanted to like have us go through and kind of rank them, like who we thought was the coolest. I mean, there's no arbitrary. This isn't like a strength ranking, but more of just like, who's the best?
Yeah, just going off of first impressions, a little bit of their banter, a little bit of their character design, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, so who do you got at the bottom?
The bottom, I have the Mist one. I think he's kind of, or she is kind of just out there. She's kind of absent-minded, and
Shikamaru of the pillars.
Yeah, so there's something.
See, I had her a little, him or her. I'm not exactly sure. Had the Mist pillar higher up, just because I feel like it's gonna be like Zenitsu. Oh yeah, you gotta bring out like the and plus Mist. I'm imagining like think of like a Zabuza from Naruto fight. Mist covers the field. And just like jing, 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 like flying through the mist and chopping off demon heads.
And then the mist goes away and all the bodies just fall over. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe.
I have the insect Hashira.
I
don't know.
You have her at the bottom.
I had her at the bottom. She seems well constructed, but at the same time, I feel like she just got a shitty attitude.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I actually have her second on my list.
Oh boy, we got every end of the spectrum.
Yeah. So I think she seems like she's putting up a kind facade, and is very scary, very, like you said, sadistic about things. So I think she has this like alternate personality that's just like it's gonna come out and do something.
Yeah. Number 8 on my list, I have Serpent Guy, just because I think he's a very cliche character, and like I'm sure there's gonna be some cool fights with him down the road. But at the same, I don't know, he just kind of bored me. Like just his character, his whole, I'm so cool, I'm laying in a tree. Like,
I have him as 4. I like those type of characters.
yeah.
So
We probably have like reverse lists.
So I think he's sly, mysterious, and I like the sneaky types, and so I think he'll pop up, have a cool part into it.
Yeah. I feel like that's always how we are too. Like me and you, especially in like our role playing games, always have polar opposites.
Yep.
You always have like the sneaky assassin rogues with like bows, and I always have the whatever character is gonna let me have the biggest possible sword, and it's gonna be the slowest, hardest hitting, tankiest guys. That's always like kind of my strong suit.
Yeah.
But who do you have at your number 8?
I got the stone guy. I'm getting weird vibes from him. Like he seems like he's caring and peaceful. So, and he's kind of just like holding those beads and just praying. He's kind of like a monk type of thing. And
yeah,
I don't know if there's his design. I think it's overdone with the beads and the big muscular guy praying. And stuff like that. And I don't know.
So that he is my number 3. Continuing with the trend, just because I really like characters like this. He reminds me especially of there was a monk in Rurouni Kenshin, an older show. Samurai X is also the name of the show, but that like trained one of the other main characters and ended up being one of one of the main antagonists, like lackeys, and had like an awesome fight with him in the end. And he actually taught a technique to one of the other main characters on how to like break stones with his fists. And he was just a badass. And he reminds me of him. And I just want to see him going through and doing like big, beefy, hard hitting moves to like shatter stone. So that, and I think I really like his character design. Like I think his eyes don't have like pupils,
Just
and he's like
white.
always crying and repenting, and he's got that dope scar across his forehead. So I'm anxious to see what comes from him, and I don't think he's gonna be like the big talker with a tragic backstory. I think he's just gonna have some cool fights, and some big powerful hits.
Yeah.
Who do you have for your number 7?
Number 7, I got the love one.
Oh, we hit the that same.
I think she's gonna be a nice character, but she's like openly kind and possibly ditzy. So I think it's gonna be just one of those woman, non-powerful side woman characters that are
Genjutsu user.
Yeah,
Something like that. That, and like what kind of power is power of love? What do you mean?
Well, the power of love.
Power of love.
I have another comment or my notes. I'll just throw it in here because it doesn't really mean anything. But in Fairy Tale this week, Zareth, spoiler, ends up dying, and it's because of the first master Fairy Tale. The way they defeated him was through love.
Oh no, not the power of love. Not again.
So
Every time.
Maybe it's powerful. Maybe she should be number 1.
Oh, she's OP for sure. She's OP. But her character design is cool, and like she is a different dynamic to the group.
Yeah,
like it's
definitely.
it's either a bunch of muscle heads that are very eccentric, or people that just don't give a shit, and then her, which is like firmly right in the middle.
Yep.
Strong number 7. Number 6 for me, I have the sound guy, who character design would be like up there. Like he's got a dope like geode, like crystals and stuff character design, but he annoys me, so he got dropped down the list. He's got like a vocal thing where he throws in a bunch of the same words over and over again. I don't remember what the word was, but he keeps using the same like metaphors for something, and he just feels like he should have been a Fire Force character.
I have him down there too. I think I had him at 7. Maybe my list is a little messed up. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it. But yeah, I think he's at the bottom too. I didn't like him.
Yeah, he's cool character design. He's probably gonna have some cool techniques, but like then again, there's no cool sound techniques. There's okay sound techniques, but even in like Naruto with the Sound Village, like they're fine.
Yeah,
like
fine.
the guy in the Forest of Death with the sound blasts out of his arms, like he was fine, but he's not making anybody's top 10 lists. So I'm sure he'll be fine. Next I got the Flame Guy, just because he seems way too eccentric.
Which one's that
like
one? What number 4?
Yeah, the flame, the
which
guy
number?
with the red hair.
Which number?
I have him at 5.
Ah, okay. That's where my Serpent one is. 5.
Yeah.
I have 5 as number 3. I feel like he's gonna be. He was in the middle, and he has the bright hair, and he's very eccentric, like he said, and kind of bold and strong-headed. So I think he's gonna be an important character just by how he's placed now as aspect goes. So I think there's gonna be some good fights with him,
and I'm sure there's like a conflict between him and Tomika, the water pillar, just because they're elemental types. I feel like that's always how it ends up being. The fire and the water guy always, conflict of interest and always clash.
Yeah.
Although I feel like the wind pillar seems like he's also going to be, in that dynamic too. But like he has a cool character design. We didn't really get a whole lot of detail about him. We had a little bit of his speech, and he was like very I don't know what word I'm looking for, upbeat and very, stick to his guns, very moral based. He has very similar characteristics to every fire elementally based fighter you've ever met.
You're right.
It's the same fire elemental trope.
Yep.
Just like in Black Clover, like he would fit into the Crimson Lion squad very, very easily.
Yeah.
Next up,
my number 1, I think we're on 5, right?
Yep.
My number 5 was the Wind Guy. I didn't like him. He's too loud and stubborn.
He kind of reminds me of what's his name in My Hero Academia, Bakugo.
I was gonna say Bakugo.
Drum roll, please. He is my number 1.
Oh,
but
really?
I'll get back. I'll get back to him, I guess. Once we get back up to the top there. Who did you have for your number 4?
Mine was the Serpent Guy.
Okay. Yep. You said that was your number 4. My number 4 was the Mist Guy. Just because I feel like he's gonna be the sleeper hit. Like he's gonna pull out those sick moves that we're not expecting. And and I don't like his personality so much. Although I feel like down the road, maybe we'll get a little more information. But I already said he reminds me of like the Shikamaru type. Then I have Stone Guy, then Water Guy. I guess we haven't talked about Water Guy. Where was Water Guy in yours?
He was number 1.
Oh yeah, okay. So your number, and then who was your number 2?
The Insect Woman.
Oh right. Okay, so I think we've made it through the whole list. So now my number 1, Wind Pillar Guy. He would have been much, much lower on the list if I only got like the first 5 minutes of his introduction. But what really changed the game for me was how his entire character and demeanor shifted as soon as the Master came out. And I was like, oh, this character is more complex than his tropes. Which, that's my big gripe about Fire Force right now, is that these characters that have their entire existence is revolving around their trope and their one character trait. And that showed to me that this character is much more complex than that. And while he does have strong belief sets in that, with the whole demon thing, and he's very, rash in his decision making. At the same time, he also is very responsible and follows order and
Kind of knows his place.
Yeah, knows his place and shows respect whenever it's due. And so I think he's going to be a really, really strong contender for like top of the heap, like top tier, strongest of the Hashiras, in my opinion. I think less that the fire. I think the fire guy is a misnomer. I think fire guy's gonna get whacked early, just because everyone thinks he's gonna be strong, and really the top two contenders are gonna be water pillar and wind pillar. Mm-hmm. That, and I think this first episode with like showing him being the one to make these moves and to go and try to protect the traditions of the Demon Slayer Corps and not let this new person like come in and disrupt everything. I really like that, and I don't think that would have happened without that little nuance of him bashing Tanjiro's head into the ground and showing that respect and reverence to the master. So I have a lot of good things to say about him, and I think also having a wind-based Demon Slayer is going to lead to some really awesome, options for attacks and stuff too. So I think that's going to look pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I just don't. His initial character traits, his rashness,
he's loud.
Gets me kind of. But yeah, I think you're right.
I guess it's it's the same way with Bakugo. Like I hated Bakugo until we actually get some backstory and see that he has a different side to him. And I like characters that aren't defined by their tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not a whole lot that we have to say about Tomioka, the water pillar, either. Like he's obviously dope. Yeah. Like he's pretty much giving us foreshadowing of like what Tanjiro can do down the road. It's almost like time skipped Tanjiro. So I think that gives us a lot to look forward to, and it's someone that Tanjiro can also look up to and idolize, and obviously has strong beliefs, and again is beyond his tropes. We found out at the end of this episode that with the letter sent by what's his name, Urokodaki, the master.
Yeah.
That they not only did Urokodaki and Tanjiro pledge to commit seppuku if Nezuko kills a human, but Tomioka also included himself in that. Like he's putting himself out there and believes so much in this that he's siding with them. And I think that also leads us to believe that he also believes in that gray zone. He believes that a demon isn't defined by just being a demon. It's not as cut and dry.
Well, I don't think in that. I think he's starting to see it that way because when they were fighting the spider, when they were doing that fighting scene, Tanjiro was talking to him about how selfish he was, like stepping on the robe or his body, the spider guy's body,
right?
And he said, "You got to let him at peace. He's gonna die anyways. You don't have to." Step on, defile his body. Just let him go.
So they're influencing each other. So ultimately, obviously, as you guys can tell, Demon Slayer is absolutely killing it, and it's been one of our favorite shows. Yeah, it is our favorite show this past 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like it's been killing it in every category of the game. And we got how many more episodes do we have? We only have like how many more episodes this season? 2? Is it only 24 episodes?
26 episodes, I think.
26. Okay, so we got a little more coming, but like I can't imagine them not giving the show a second season.
Yeah, there's no way.
I would literally be devastated if this show didn't get a second season. Like there's so much going on. It's getting the respect it deserves from the fan base, and it's really starting to like break. It's a show that I feel like has the potential to bring more people in anime because of how good it is.
Oh, definitely. With that one fight scene, it was brought. Yep. It was like on all my news feeds, and Google was recommending things and stuff like that. And I think I think a lot of things too is when at least I do this. Whenever I get really into an anime, I start reading the manga. So I feel like this is one of those where it's going to get the manga publicity is also going to get increased because of the show.
It's definitely going to promote the source material. because people want to know, and especially if we have to wait for a second season,
Yeah.
people are gonna cave. We'll see. We'll see what I do. Will I cave, or will I just keep riding on the anime only? I don't know. We will see. Next up, we have Dr. Stone. We got 3 episodes that have came out so far. Episodes 7, 8, and 9. What have you thought of these episodes?
These are basic civilization building episodes. Little things here and there during the episodes that they're trying to figure out. A little introductions between some characters. So the first episode, the blonde chick that Senku found takes him back to her village, and we find out that this is just a primitive village that is full of people who were born into this civilization and not awoken stone people from back when it first happened. So it's very primitive. There's no science. There's no technology at all. It's kind of very primitive. But they do have some people that do these sorcery stuff, and it's just basic magic, which we get introduced to Chrome, who eventually becomes Senku's lab assistant, more like. So during this whole thing, the last couple episodes, it goes about with him and Chrome trying to develop things, like they're looking into making antibiotics there, and then trying to gain followers so they can make steel, have more manpower to turn to melt the ore and stuff, whatever. And so they do by making ramen, and so they add the science into the aspect of making food and making something totally different to blow these primitive people's minds to try to get them to follow them. But in the most recent episode, we find out that Tsukasa is actually awakening people that are good at specific tasks to try to get information out there. So, the Senku isn't... I don't know if it's because he doesn't have access to get the elixir of life. I'll just call it elixir of life, to awaken people from the stones. But I guess Tsukasa is doing it, or whatever his name is, Tsukasa. Whatever. But he's waking people, and so they actually have one of his followers comes and finds Senku. But based on what he sees Senku doing, he decides to switch sides and join the Kingdom of Science, because they end up making an electric generator, which is kind of insane. Like they haven't done much technological increase, but they just jump right to electricity. So
yeah, I think more than anything, he's getting all the pieces together right now, where we're not seeing these big leaps until we get to the light bulb, but there's essential things that were needed to get it there. Like they had to make the magnet, and to make the magnet they had to get the iron ore, and they also had to get the copper wire to wrap around the iron ore. And I think a lot of it, Senku has got very, very lucky in the past couple episodes.
Oh, definitely.
Because, obviously, lightning, that was kind of an essential thing that they needed. But also, if he didn't have Chrome, this would have taken him, years more. But because Chrome has been collecting, he's working with a full set of raw materials, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Chrome is so important. Yeah, yep. You completely skip that phase, which is the time in. You even saw a little snippet of how long it took them to collect the magnetic, the iron, with out of the river. That was very labor intensive and very time intensive, and we get to just skip that because Chrome's been putting in the work. So, I think Chrome is a big asset, and then obviously the lightning was all luck and main character plot moving things forward.
Oh yeah.
But we also get to see him starting to interact with the people of the village, because up until this point, Senku is not allowed into the village because he's an outsider, and the douchebag of a village chief, who I hate that character trope of the elder who's like a hard ass. I let him in, man. Like, eat the ramen. Like, no, you cannot eat the ramen. To the like advisors that went and were telling him about his activities.
I'm surprised they didn't even like go like size him out or anything.
Yeah, no, he's sticking to his guns. He's like, no, we will not interact with him. We will not let science win or sorcery, whatever. The mentalist guy I thought was going to be a lot more impressive than he actually was. I was like, oh, he's going to play some serious cool mind games with these two. And he does a sleight of hand magic trick. I'm like, that was anticlimactic. Like, he's a cool character design and all, but like he hasn't shown me actually anything impressive. Whereas like Senku obviously is very impressive and has this knowledge. And I mean, this show's strength is that like it's riding on the fact that all of us find science cool, because it is cool, and they're really playing that to its strength. Like just the same way that like we watch those YouTube videos of the guys that build like primitive swimming pools in the rainforest or whatever, like those kind of things. Like, people love that, man, and that's exactly what this is. He's building electricity, he's building magnets and making ramen, and by grinding wheat or cattail or whatever those things are. Like, it's just cool. And so I think that's what's been really pushing the show forward. And while like we haven't got any big jumps, I still think the pacing is good, and we're getting those improvements like little by little. And this light bulb is going to be the big game changer for sure. And it was very well done, and it was very cinematic at the end of that scene. The music was really good, and you can tell that that light is going to be a very pivotal point. And they showed it by like zooming out off of the Earth, and we see the Earth, like the planet, and that big flash of light. Because realistically, this is the first time artificial light has been created in 3,700 years. So this is definitely going to be a game changer that's going to win a lot of people over, more so than ramen did.
Yeah.
Moving forward, Fire Force.
Yeah.
It's been sucking, dude. Bad pacing, bad characters. Like, it's been okay, but even the fight scenes are
anticlimactic.
They're anticlimactic, and they're using what I hate about fight animation, where they're about to do a cool attack, but they want to save money, so they do the choppy, like, oh, his kick is going in, and then they cut and then reposition, oh, and then the kick has landed. You skipped what I came here to see. Like, I get it, you're trying to, save money here and there, not animate the whole thing. Like, it's hard, don't get me wrong. It's hard to do fights like Demon Slayer with those long stretches of animation. But I mean, there's just not a lot that's been going good for Fire Force in the last couple episodes.
I think
they've
you're
been
right.
very rushed.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. You're right with the pacing. It's rushed every single episode. They have to rush through something. They rush through something, and then it's always something different too. They rush through one thing, end it. Go to the next thing. Rush through another thing, end it. Rush through another thing, and end it. But they're trying to throw it all, incorporating one specific thing. But another thing I wanted to point out was, they're really playing that hero trope for Shinra, which is really
it's
annoying.
It's not cool. Every time he tries to say something cool and they try to put good music behind it, it's not hitting, man. It's not making me invested. This is not a insert yourself, oh, he's so cool character. He seems like I don't know. I don't like it. And going back to the pacing, okay, in these 3 episodes, 6, 7, and 8, at the beginning of episode 6, they are about to fight Squad 5, who is the girl seems like the main antagonist at the time, at least for that like little mini arc. And you would think that would go on for a while. It literally lasts an episode, like 2 episodes max, was the whole mini arc with that. And he completely changed her entire viewpoint, her whole world perspective, by knocking her out once. He literally hit her with one punch, and she said, "Oh, you got me. Here is all of my research, and I will aid you moving forward."
And then she like falls in love with him too.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? So in a 3-episode stretch, we went from battling Squad 5 with a girl who hates everything that Shinra stands for to 2 episodes later, they've now infiltrated Squad 1, which seems like kind of an endgame play, found who is turning people into infernals, and the girl is aiding them in the endeavor and gave them all of her research. What? That's literally 60 minutes. All of that happened. What kind of pacing is that? And like the character designs were very cool for the 3 lieutenant priests or whatever of Squad 1. And then they started to talk. And it's literally God. I'm the guy who is bad at wordplay. I'm the guy who's very eccentric and very loud, and I'm the guy with the cool saxophone who's the only good one out of the 3. And that was kind of cool. The guy with the tuba or whatever that translates fire energy into sound energy into cold energy. That was kind of neat.
That was the same.
Everyone else,
is that the same guy who has a bad speech? Who
is he?
Says something and it's like.
Well, I don't know. Then who's the other guy?
Just a random dude that we lost track of.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Because we find that like the main villain is the guy that's super loud, and he literally, none of these squads have been able to find who's been doing this, and he lets himself be seen turning someone in an alleyway while the main character is watching? What? It's just bad writing. It's bad writing and bad pacing at this point. And like, I don't know. I had such high hopes, and all the things
definitely.
that I talked about. Yeah, I had all the things that I loved about episode 1 that they nailed. Like I have not seen animation the same quality as that initial shot of episode 1 where they're panning through the city since. So that misled me. The premise I thought was gonna be really cool, but they're botching it with the pacing.
Yeah, it's a little off. I don't know.
And I just don't. Yeah, I don't like the chick either. What's her name? Like, oh, I respect you so much, senpai. Why are you doing this? Oh, no, senpai, why are you doing this to me? And then he comes in, and the only good thing was him dropping the kick through the top of the building onto him on the end of the most recent episode. That was passable. That was better. But then he blew it, I think, with some stupid shit about being a hero.
Yeah. Well, I think the cat character is just based on the intro. She's probably gonna join them on their after this. So
yeah, and I couldn't tell you where the next 3 episodes are gonna take us.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
Like if you asked me 3 episodes ago, hey, where's the show gonna be at? I would have probably told you we're still infiltrating Squad 5. We are now fighting a direct connection to the infernal problem. Like 3 episodes from now, we could be fighting the main villain. For all I know, they could be in the end game.
Yeah,
they could. The squad leader of Squad 1 could be the major villain, and I literally don't know how it's gonna go because I can't nail the pacing.
Yep, they could be in different squad now. Maybe the one's done. Boom. All right. Just go to Squad 3. They go to a different squad. They go whatever. We don't even know what they're doing.
2 episodes from now, we could be in Squad 6 with a time skip. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I don't know. Next up, we got everybody's favorite dungeon-dwelling show that has not yet entered the dungeon. I guess they did. They went once. They did a little bit of training because they needed some cash. But what have you been thinking of Dungeon Boy so far this season?
Well, so they just started a new arc. I don't think we talked about it. It's been so long since we last talked about it. I forgot where we left off, but I think we didn't talk about
him going
it.
into the pleasure him going into the pleasure district was like the beginning of this 3-episode, the last 3 episodes that we've been getting into.
Yeah, so yeah, the new arc with priestess, or I mean god, Ishtar and her Amazonians. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm not really. It's not that intriguing to me. Is it intriguing to you?
I don't know. It's now becoming this way only in the most recent episode because we're now seeing the interplay of the different gods trying to screw one another over and how they're interconnected, and that at least interests me. Because if you think about it, it's all like the past 3 episodes have been leading up to where we're at right now.
Yes.
Like the first episode was them going into the pleasure district, trying to find a friend of the samurai chick or whatever, one of her childhood friends. They go in there looking for her. Belle gets lost. Introduction to the Amazonian people. We see like the top contenders. We see the people that are going to obviously befriend Belle later down the road in the form of I can't think of her name. The one Amazonian looking chick. So we get our introduction to the characters in that first episode. We do meet the chick that's the childhood friend. Okay, and then they leave. And we also see where Hermes is connected into all of this. Which, weird thing, he's crying at the end of the one episode after allegedly sleeping with Ishtar. So, don't know what that was about.
Too much pleasure.
Too much, I guess. It reminds me of Futurama, like the Amazon.
That's exactly what it was.
Snoo. Especially the big one. The toad. The squad captain leader. And it also reminds me, they look very much like the Amazonians from One Piece, which I know you're not very involved into the One Piece world, but Boa Hancock, one of the warlords, they're identical pretty much. Yeah. It's like all their character designs.
Is that the one with the mushroom thing?
The mushrooms?
I don't know. With Luffy's penis?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you know what? I forgot about that. Oof. But anyway, getting to that. But now we're seeing why Ishtar is doing this and why she is involved with Belle and wants him in the first place. She less cares about Belle and more wants to mess with the that other head honcho goddess. And that other one, who seems like it's going to be like the major villain of this arc, wants Belle. And so it's like she's using him to get to her. And so that's the play. And Hermes is just involved somehow. And what we originally thought was just like a side character in this, the childhood friend who is the prostitute, I have a feeling is much more involved into this grand scheme play than we originally thought, especially from some of the information that Hermes was dropping. I think that maybe like she might have some sort of power and that's why they brought her into the dungeon. I think she was able to like give a power boost to some of the Amazonians.
That's what I'm getting off of that. Her specific race has a like a cleric type of role where they enhance people's abilities, and so
giving them buffs.
Yeah, and so what we find out the whole thing is about is that I'm not sure why Belle's connected in this sense of why they're doing it. Maybe we'll find out, but I guess they seal her soul into a stone, and then they break the stone, and the god's gonna give little splinters of that stone to each one of her subjects. I don't know what they call them, familia, and that stone's gonna give them a buff. So, and they're gonna use that to destroy one of the top familia.
Yeah, which is the one that we're trying to start this war with right now.
Yeah.
And we also heard from one of the guild connections that allegedly there's people in Ishtar's guild that are, or familia, that are stronger than what they're registered with at the guild. And I think that's because of this, like, these support buff kind of things that are being given by...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I think like that's why they're probably more powerful than the guild realizes, and they're keeping it secret because it's like their secret weapon.
Yep. So
last 3 episodes were kind of slow in that regard, but it was all just like introducing the characters for this next arc, which again, with the pacing, I don't know how long it's going to be. This arc could end next episode for all I know, because the last time I thought we were going to have a long, literal season-long war game, it took an episode and then we moved on, so... I don't know how long we got on this one.
I think it's going to be a little longer, though, because at least the intro, it didn't show much about the war game. It showed more of this arc that we're doing now with the Fox Girl and the Ishtar stuff. And I don't looking at it in the sense of what could be, looking forward. There's not much after that, so maybe there'll be a new intro, but It's
Yeah,
only,
so
only
maybe
so many
this is the
episodes.
rest of the ride, and the War Games was just like the mini arc, ends to a means to get them a bigger house. Next up, we have Arifureta. I don't know. I was riding high on the show. I was all about it. And then they introduced this stupid bunny chick. I hate her.
Yeah, so do I. If you look at my notes, I say she's kind of annoying.
Oh no, she's not more than she's more than annoying. She's like literally the antithesis of what I wanted from this show. It was so cool. It was edgy, but I liked it, and it is now not edgy, and it is just
Kind of cringy.
Yeah, everything that it was doing right about, giving a new perspective on like the isekai kind of genre, it just like threw all the isekai in at once in the form of this bunny girl. All the things that I don't like, and the fan service, like it. I don't like her.
Yeah.
And I don't like her. I don't like her backstory.
And
I just don't like it.
Yeah, going off of those episodes, like there's not much to go off of. They do some little things. It's kind of weird. They do stuff. They go to a labyrinth. Can't enter the labyrinth. They go to a different labyrinth. Labyrinth was weird. They get new power, but they can't use it. Only the one can. Still kind of cringy.
She's supposed to be comic relief and fan service, but it's like that's not what I wanted from this show. I didn't want comic relief. I wanted badass, edgy railguns blasting labyrinth people.
Yeah, with more cringiness to it. With the stupid bunny girl, there was when they were in one of the labyrinths, some white goo gets on her face, and I go, oh no,
yeah,
they didn't do that. No, they could not have done that.
Yeah, so it was doing fine until we hit Bunny Girl, and then the worst part is she's along for the ride now. She's a main character.
Yeah,
she's like we're stuck with her for the rest of the show. So I don't know what's gonna happen from here. They gotta do something to reel me back in because it lost a lot of what it had going for it. With her introduction.
Well, and then that weird animation started back up again. I don't know what it was, that robot or the golem or whatever it was.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
with the bullets, his bullets, the shells from his bullets looked weird. And I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We were hoping, but yeah, these last ones a little off there. I mean, what they're doing. It seems like they're just power boosting, and that's all they're doing in these past episodes.
Yeah,
I
think it's gonna get very episodic. Like, and we're on to the next labyrinth, and we're on to the next labyrinth. What needs to happen is the next episode has to do nothing with the bunny girl, and we need to see what's happening with all of his school classmates.
Yeah,
and like what they're doing. That for me would be a sign in the right direction. Fleshing them out a little bit, and just pretend that the bunny chick with the huge hammer doesn't exist.
Maybe they'll do another recap episode.
Probably every 3 episodes. Last time on Arifureta.
Well, I think that's it for that. There's not much else to talk about.
Yeah.
But I had some other comments I would like to talk about a little bit. I decided to get a Netflix account, and so I decided watching some of the anime onlys on Netflix. I decided to watch the Violet Evergarden, like you talked about a couple seasons back or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I actually really liked it. I was kind of disappointed that I waited now to see it. It was very emotional, and I didn't expect it to be
It wasn't the show you thought it was going to be, right?
No.
Like all the promotional material, and especially the first couple episodes, you thought it was going to be a war show, not a show about writing letters.
Oh my god, it actually made me cry a little bit.
Oh yeah,
like more than one time. Like the scene with her writing the letter of the dying soldier. Oh my god! and then they don't, like, it made it seem like she was gonna save the guy, but he just dies, and she takes the letters to the fiance or whatever and his parents, and it's like, what the hell? It's sad.
It was a good show though. And above all else, it was, for me, the animation of it. Like, it was emotional, and the music was good, and they knew when to invest their resources into things. And it was cool characters, too. Like, cool, fleshed out characters with actual personalities.
Yeah, I really liked it. That was really good.
Plus, it was well paced for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It was only 12, wasn't it?
It was short. I don't know.
But like, it concluded.
yeah.
It concluded in a somewhat satisfying way.
Well, I don't know if satisfying. It's more like jarring. Like, what was it? Who was that at the end? But
yeah, true.
And then I watched some more. I watched caught up on Seven Deadly Sins because of the new seasons coming out in the fall. We have a bunch coming up, and then I watched Devilman Crybaby. Oh my god, that show is so weird. I was not expecting it to be like that. From what you talked about it, I thought it was like just kids doing stuff and not like actually had to do with devils and stuff like that. Just people rapping. I thought it was like some society type of like thing. But
I gave you a bad representation. My favorite parts of the show have nothing to do with what the show was about.
I was like, what in the actual fuck is going on?
And I guarantee the first point was whenever they got to the rave, and you're like, what is this?
Yes, and I was like, do I want to keep watching this? I was like, all right, that's enough for tonight.
Yep.
But
Seven Deadly Sins. Who's your favorite character out of the new season?
What's the one? What's his name? The guy with the axe.
Escanor.
Escanor, yeah.
Yeah, Escanor was my favorite. Like he was such a badass. And I like both forms. I like bartender version, and I like way too OP overpowered version.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, he was the only one who actually did like actual like hardcore damage to anything.
Everybody else needs a good hard training arc before they take on these other main adversaries, but Escanor's ready to go.
He's such a badass. And I like the mustache.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was nice.
And like some of the scenes where he has his glasses on, I don't know if he keeps them on for some of them or not, but like the glare goes off of him and his like tone changes, and when he gets all muscular, that's like perfect. Oh, and then just another side comment. You know how we always talk about a lot of these shows, they all have a hot spring episodes or some sort of spa type of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the shows I've been watching too is Are You Lost? And it's just a 12-minute show. It's a little skit about these 4 high schoolers who got lost on an island because of a plane wreck or shipwreck or something, and they're stuck on an island. But somehow they end up having a hot spring episode while they're stuck on an island. They're like in survival mode, but they're like, oh, let's take some time to just chill at these hot springs. I just thought that was like pretty funny because we always joke about how there's always a hot spring.
There's always a hot spring episode and always a beach episode. And it's at that point in the show where you just close your laptop real slowly and go, well, I think that's enough anime for today. That'll be enough. And with that, I think that brings an end to this episode of the Anime Everguys. Thank you guys so much for listening. It means a lot to us. And like we said at the beginning of the podcast, we are now on Patreon, so you can support us on there. You could have your name shouted out at the end of the podcast, just like friend of the podcast, Brendan S. You could have your name right here. It's a pretty cool way to, support us and let us know that you like what we're doing. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, so you get all the news, and then also make sure to give us a shout out of what you think we should do for our anniversary show, what you think would be a cool thing, what you want to hear from us, if there's like a specific show or movie or something you want us to review, just something special we can do for that 1 year milestone. And with that, stay cool.